What's up, everybody? Bitcoin $93,000. Actually, we came up to about $93,500, and it's exactly what we thought it would be, which is what? A, B, C. And this, what's interesting about this is it's a running flat. So when you have an A wave and then you have a B wave that comes up at least 90%, and that's a flat. So if it comes up and takes the high, it's a flat. If it comes up 90%, it's a flat. And what makes it a running flat is if it stalls right in the middle here. If it came all the way down, that would be a regular flat. And if it continued down and then went up, that would be an expanded flat. So we have ourselves a running flat, which is one of the most bullish corrections you could possibly have. Because the reason why it's so incredibly bullish is because ABC, usually in ABC, it comes down here, it breaks below A. But this C wave did not break below A. And what makes it also bullish, because it front-runned the wave C, right? Or it front-run this whole thing instead of having to complete down there. The other reason is bullish is because as this came down and then as it reacted to the upside, it bounced all the way back to the top, making essentially a double top, right? So basically what you have is a cup and some type of handle, right? So $92,000. And as we're speaking, look who else decided to wake up a little bit. XRP. We're back to the swing high right here. So let's see how this plays out. So let's see if we can actually break the top here, or is it going to do something like what Bitcoin did, which is what? A flat. So you could see this could be A, right? We could be rocking up to the upside for a B. And since it went clearly 90%, it actually took the top here, right? Then you would expect potentially a C wave, maybe some type of running flat, some type of regular flat, or some type of expanded flat. Hopefully it's not an expanded flat. And a rule of thumb here, the higher the B wave, like if this thing got really high up here, then you're more likely to get a running flat versus an expanded flat or somewhere in between. Just something I've noticed, because think about it. When you go up, and you're so high up and then you fall, you can only fall so much, right? Before people start buying the dip. And people did, right? Or definitely on Bitcoin. So XRP looking great. It doesn't look like it's finished. That's for damn sure. Just looking at it zoomed out, when you go to like maybe the 20-minute here, you could see this was the bottom back here at 49 cents or so. And you can see it, we pumped to the upside, right? We're sort of revving up in here. So yeah, it's possible we can get a correction. I mean, heck, we can even get a double correction, something like that, right? Before going up. But the point is, I don't think it's finished. I think, maybe we got to flag out in here a little bit, but at the end of the day, we should expect more upside. Now, how likely is it that we can just break it from here, right? What if we're just creeping and then we just break out? I mean, yeah, it's likely. I mean, I don't see why it couldn't, but we would have to look at Bitcoin here. Does Bitcoin have any room left to go? And I would say, I don't know. It's a pretty extended move, because if you take a measurement from the bottom to the top to the bottom, you can see we already tagged almost the 1.414. So if we have a 1618 extension on our hands, we could see 94,682, which would probably get XRP, most likely get it out of that range. But one thing I've noticed as well is this might not be a flat A, B, C. And you go, what do you mean? It's clearly a flat. Well, what if it's not? And you say, well, what else could it be? Well, maybe it's a 1-2, right? What if this was our correction? A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, C, A, B, C, right? And this was a wave 1, and this was a wave 2, and now we're going up into wave 3. See, there's other ways you can look at it, and that's what makes it challenging, and that's what makes it interesting. But I'll tell you what, I have seen this correction before in Bitcoin. I've seen it before because I've tried to memorize all of the corrections. And let me see if I could find it. So when you look at the last bull run, you can see it right. There's actually a little bit right there, but that's not the one. I'm talking about this one here. It looks very, that's very similar. Look at that. And look where it's at. That's actually the first wave. Or actually, we haven't cleared the all-time high because the all-time high was about 20K. So this was right at the all-time high. We created this flat. And I remember looking at this because we thought maybe this is something we could get. Turned out to be way bigger than we thought. So this right here, you could see A, B, right? C. We have an A, B, C. That's an expanded or a running flat, right? So what happened after that? Well, you could see we pumped up, we flagged out, and then we continue to pump. But let's measure it. Let's see what the measurement is. And then we can compare that to what is happening now. So if we take this, I haven't done it, so I don't know. Oh, look at that. We went way beyond the 1.6. Well, not way beyond, but we went beyond the 1.618. And then we corrected. So right now, Bitcoin is just sitting right here. So maybe we got a little bit more to go before we correct and then ultimately continue. Maybe. So take a mental screenshot of this. Okay, and now look at this. See? It pays to have a good memory when it comes to this stuff. So, yeah, I remember this correction. I think this has got a little bit more to go, maybe to the 1.618, and then maybe we play around a little bit up here before hopefully heading even higher. So let's see about that. So, you know, we were calling for a correction yesterday. We got a pretty big dump in the altcoins, but that's totally fine, right? And I know you're probably wondering about those. So let's take a look at Theta. So Theta had a nice pullback. And like I said yesterday, you know, pullbacks, just be cautious because they could come and it could be very volatile. And look what happened yesterday. Let's see. We dumped all the way. We had a 20% dump yesterday. I mean, come on. I mean, that says buy the dip. All, you know, anytime you have a big impulse to the upside and you get a big flash crash to the downside, you can say, oh, well, it doesn't look corrective because it's impulsing to the downside. Well, the reason why is because, I mean, the correction might not be finished, and it's not, because we're not even at the retracement levels yet. But the reason why you want to buy is because, like with Bitcoin, right, what did it do? It came up, it pulled back, and then it came up, and then it pulled back, and then it went. So this is this here, right? And now potentially we bottomed and now we're going to go up. So if this turns into a flat like Bitcoin did, and then it pulls back and then we level off and then we go, well, this would have been the ultimate buy, and then this would have been a good buy too. But some people are more conservative and they would rather wait for it to be confirmation. But the problem with waiting is we might not get this. It might just go, and you're just, you missed it. So anytime an asset crashes 20% while Bitcoin is in price discovery, that is like a clear signal to buy the dip, right? Not financial advice at all. I could be totally wrong, and it could be a terrible decision, and you can lose all your money. So just, understand that. But yeah, let's look at the smaller time frames, and let's take a look at what the hell is going on the smaller time frame. So look at that. So what we don't know, we have an A, we have a B, right? This is a flat. This is an expanded flat, and we have actually either this is a three-wave move, so this could be W, X, and Y. Okay, and if that's the case, then let's get a 1, let's get a 2, let's get a 3, 4, and let's go. If not, if it's an ABC, then you need 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But I don't like it because it's already overlapping into wave 2. So it doesn't really have that good look, but it is what it is. And wave 1 was so big, so I think it's just a three-way pullback. So W, X, Y. And now we have a 1, flag out for a 2, and then come up for a 3, and then go for a 4 and a 5. I mean, that's best case, right? The other idea is that we have 3 to the downside. So now we're going up into a retracement. And by the way, if the market is dumping in a bull, this is what you got, because in a bear market it's different. But in a Bitcoin price discovery bull market, where you're just, it could be very, very volatile to the downside. That's true. But what happens when you have a big move to the downside? You get big retracements. So if you're going to panic sell, like it's like, it's dumping. Oh, it's going to pull back. It's going to pull back. It's coming back up. See, I told you, it's coming back up. And then boom, it dumps again. Oh, that wasn't supposed to happen, right? What's going on? And then you sell it, right? And then what happens? And then you go into a retracement, right? So if this is going to crash, let's say this is going to go to 0. It's not, but let's say it is. If it's going to go to 0, then you want, and you want to get out, and you're dumping, and you're dumping, and you're dumping. You don't really want to sell it when you already crashed 20%. You want to wait for a retracement and then get out before it comes down, right? So what you could have is 3 down. You could come up in 3. And that's another thing. If we come up in 3, we got to be very cautious that it's a B wave. So 3 down, 3 up, and then maybe we get 5 or 3 down. 1, 2, 3. Something like that. And then we go. So, it could also be a bigger flat, right? Or it could just be a regular C wave and go, right? Expanded flat. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking here on Theta. So let's see how this plays out. And when I talk about Theta, I'm talking about almost all of them that have this type of correction. Because look, if you zoom out, you got to zoom out. What did we say was going to happen when we got here? We were going to play around. That's exactly what I said. I said that back over here. and over here. And you go, you did? I don't think you did. Well, I could show you right here. So when we look at Wyckoff accumulation, right? Basically, we're moving down, right? We have the spring, and then what do? We come up here back to the top of the range, and that's exactly what we did. We went incredibly fast to the top of the range. That's how you know it was an impulse. And then what happens? Well, you can see right here, we play around, right? We get up here, we bounce, because we have to sort of, fill in some of this liquidity before we can continue, right? So that's looks like exactly what we're doing. So it could take some time, right? We got 3 down here. Maybe we get 3 up. Maybe it's a triangle. You know what I mean? I mean, it's so early. It's kind of hard to know exactly. We can only go off of what we see, right? And if what we see isn't complete, if the paint, if the artist is painting a portrait and he's only 25% done, sometimes you don't know what he's actually painting until you get to like 60%, right? So we got to wait a little bit. But this could be like 3. We could get 3, we could get 3, we could get 3. So A, B, C, D, E, go. It could be some kind of triangle. Just like, maybe that was a little triangle. And then we go. So, you know what I mean? So there could be a couple different things. But the main point is, well, who cares exactly what it's going to be? What is the net result once it's finished? Upside. Just have to wait for it to be more clear. So could we pull back even further than where we are now? Yes, because this could be 3, right? We can come up in 3, and then we can get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we can actually get all the way back down here, which is what, $1.25 around there, right? So retesting this area here, because this was like a little bit of a inverse head and shoulders, right? And now we're coming back, and we retest the neckline before we break out. So and when I mean theta, this is an example. When you look at near, it's the same thing, right? We're back at here, right? We had the spring, we're going to play around and then go. Same thing. I don't need to go over every altcoin, right? Same thing with flow. QNT is definitely different. IMX. So the difference between IMX and Theta, you can see like IMX is still down here. Like for example, Theta got all the way back up here. So you can see which one's strong and which one's not. Right? So Conflux, XLM. XLM had a good day yesterday. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start pulling back a little bit soon. Fetch. Fetch is definitely different. It's a little bit weird with Fetch because you have 5 to the upside, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have 3 to the downside, and you have an impulse to the upside. So this is 1, this is 2. Right? And now this could be 1 of 3. And this is 2 of 3. Right? But the thing is maybe 2 of 3 becomes, and that's a pretty nasty correction, That's a pretty, let's see, we crashed quite a bit here. Look at that. We went down 25%. But that's, I mean, think about all the longs that got liquidated because they buy the top because they're not, they get blinded by the greed. You have all this excitement, all this euphoria, and you're buying and you're buying. And I tried to warn people yesterday because what did I come out yesterday saying? The first thing I said was be careful with Bitcoin. And by the way, Bitcoin actually broke higher, right? And it's okay if it did because that's another hit to the high. But what I said with Bitcoin was we are on this trend line right here. If you tag this one and this one and you stretch it out, look where we're at. And we still technically haven't even broke it yet. Let me make it as good as I can. I want to make it as perfect as I can. Let me go to the weekly. It'll be much easier. Let me just go to a higher time frame. There we go. So as long as I'm touching the wicks, which I am, there we go. Both wicks are touching. You got to look careful because look, that one's not touching. So let me make it a little bit more. Right about there. Now let's see. Is it touching now? Yeah. So you can see both of the wicks are touching, and that's the most conservative, right? I could do even another one, but on the bodies of the candles, you know what I mean? Or the closes, right? Instead of the wicks. So look at that. We actually poked through, which is good. Sometimes you do, but let's go to the weekly real quick. But here's the thing. The weekly hasn't closed yet. We still got 4 days left for the close to occur. Okay? So, we could play around up here. This could push up even higher, and then it closes, and then you have a wick hanging at the top. You know what I mean? But that's just one thing. Trend lines are subjective. Sometimes they slice right through them like butter and it doesn't even matter. So you have to have other points of confluence. And what is the other point of confluence? Well, we hit a beautiful 1618 extension from this move right here. Look at that. So the 1618 came in at about 89K and the 702 is about 90K, right? So we actually made it to that extension. Now, oftentimes you hit it and you pull back and you consolidate and then you continue higher. But we did on the smaller time frames, right? But just not on the larger time frames. And that's what makes it also confusing for people is different time frames mean different things, right? It's all relative to what time it is or what the time frame is. So yeah, we hit the 1618. And then another thing we looked at was when we go back to a smaller time frame, right? We can see a trend-based fib extension. So if we take a trend-based fib extension from the bottom of this wave to the top of the wave, back down to the bottom of that wave, you could see the 1618 was also at 89K, and look, we broke above it actually. So, but that's actually very common. Where, let me zoom in a little bit more. So, for example, it's very common that you come up into a retracement level and then you basically consolidate sideways, right? And then you come up and tag the high and then it's finished, right? But we don't know for sure if it's finished because it could come down and it could back test in here and then continue higher. So that's why, you know, you got to look at it closely. And by the way, this correction right here is the same correction Bitcoin made, not only the one I showed you, but also when you look at it right. Actually, I'm going to have to go to the daily chart to show you this one right here. You see it? That was a running flat. Look at that. Right there. A, B, C. And then we continued up, and then we flagged out, and then we continued higher. So this right here is the same thing as what we were looking at on like the 15-minute chart. You see that? So, but anyways, let's keep moving forward. What now? Well, this could be a 1, 2. This could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, we have 3, right? And now we could get like 3 down, maybe 3 back up, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. We can get an ABC, right? And that would be 4, and then we go up for 5. That's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is, again, maybe we have to come down and back test, right? Maybe we just flag out in here and pop the high. It's so early. It's, you know, things are moving so fast. Okay, this is the small time frame. Things move very fast when it's in price discovery. So in order to get this was a blessing, because I was able to read it. I was able to identify what it is, right? But when you just go straight up, there's just nothing there to really lean on except fibs, right? We also have TD sequential. I haven't looked at it in a while. Let's take a look at TD sequential. So, okay, we're on an 8. Oh my God, we're on an 8. So in 6.5 hours, by the time you watch this, well, before that, it's going to be a 9. Okay, so we're going to have a 9 sell. And if you don't know what a 9 sell is, here's a 9 sell right here. And you can see what happened. So basically what TD sequential is, it's an exhaustion indicator. It lets you know when the trend is becoming exhausted in either direction, right? Again, that's why my videos are long, because this is education. You know, it's like, you know, when you go to college, you don't sit there for 10 minutes and let your professor talk. You know, you're in there for about an hour because you got to learn something, you know, and that, you know, this is more education. You know, people don't like that. Sometimes they like to be told what it's going to do, exactly when and exactly how, right? And you know, basically a trade call. And for that kind of stuff, you need to pay money, right, to get a real good trade call. I'm not that guy. I'm not a guy that's going to give trade calls. I do tell you what I think, and I do tell you where I believe it's going, and we've been nailing it for a while, a long time, right? We've called many things, but you know, so anyways, back to the sequential. We have a 9 right here, and this is not a, you can either get a reversal or you can get a pullback, right? So you come up here and you typically want a 1 to 4 candle correction. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's your correction. There's the low right there. And then you have these candles, consolidation, and then you continue, right? So this was a pullback 9, right? Let's see if we can see a reversal. Here's a reversal 9 right here. It took a little while. It doesn't mean it happens right on the day. It could take time. But we came up here. We had a 9. Right? We had a little bit of a pullback. We played up here at the top a little bit, but then bam, we crashed. But look, we landed on a 9 buy, and this happened to be the best 9 buy in the whole fourth wave 7-month correction. Right? Here's another one too. Look at this. This is a perfect 9 buy. Look at that. Perfect. This was a 9 buy on the daily chart back in May 2nd. And look what it did. You had a 9 buy, right? And we don't just go based off the 9, because look at this 9, for example. This 9 was not a good 9, right? Because we landed here, but it was only a pullback. See, the 9 buy doesn't mean that you should buy. It could mean that there's a short-term pump, which we did. We got a pump, right? So if you measure the bottom of this all the way to the top, that was a 6% pump, essentially, right? So 6% times 15x leverage on some of these traders, they made good money following this 9. But look what the result was. You crashed because it wasn't finished, right? So if you go maybe to the higher time frames, maybe you have another 9 at the bottom. I don't know. Let's see. Come on. Why does it do that? No, there's no 9. But we almost landed on a 9. Look at that. That's an 8. Anytime you have an 8, that's a doji. That's letting you know, maybe you're front running a 9, right? So, but anyways, if you want this indicator, you can't do the one that I have. You have to, this one right here, because it's TD. TD stands for Tom DeMark, and I think that name was trademarked by himself through TradingView. So everybody who had it was grandfathered in. So if you don't have it, you have to search for this one right, where's it at? It's right here. It's called Trend Reversal Predictor. This is what you want. And it looks a little different, but it's essentially the same thing. It's actually better because you have, the sequential 13. But look at this, guys. You're on a 4-day 9, guys. This is huge. So let's go. Okay, so this is a good learning experience. Look at this. The last time we had a 4-day 9, we topped and we went sideways for freaking 7 months. So we have to be careful here. I don't think that's going to be the case now because we're in the middle of a 5th wave. And you see, that's another thing you have to understand. And again, that's why my videos are long, because there's a lot of information. This is not just clear cut and dry, like, here's support, here's resistance, here's the target, here's this. I mean, you can do that, but there's so much more information that I want you guys to learn. And that's why I try to be different than everybody else in that sense, right? Especially if you're new, you want to soak up as much knowledge as you possibly can so that you're equipped with the tools to do this yourself. You know what I mean? Instead of just being told what to do. So we're on a 9, but again, the TD sequential is important, but you have to use it in conjunction with other things like Elliott wave. For example, watch this right here. Here's a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. Okay, so if you had a 9 at the top of a wave 5, you should sell and take your profits. It's just simple as that, depending what time frame you're trading, right? So if you have a 5-wave move to the upside and you landed on a 9, that's a good indication to sell, especially if you have bearish divergence between the 3rd and the 5th. So between the 3rd and the 5th right here, if the RSI is going down and the price went up, right? But if you have a 9, let's say you have a 9 in the middle of the 3rd wave, well, then you understand, like, yeah, we could reverse. Yeah, it could be a flat, right? But it's not a solid call, right? It's not a solid move. So you want more, right? If you had a 9 at the top of the 3rd, then maybe you can take 50% of your profit, right? You see what I mean? It all depends where the 9 is, right? So, for example, look at this 9 right here on the 4-day chart. Look at this. We had a 1, and look at that. We had a 9 on the top of the first wave. Now back in when we had that first wave, we didn't know if it was a first wave, right? We didn't know. There's no way to know that was wave 1, right? Because we were ranging in here. There was no trend, right? Yeah, we had an ABC and it looked good, but we didn't have everything we completely needed, right? But look at this. you had a 9, right? So you ignore that one. You come up here, you broke out, and you think, oh, that's the third wave. But if you count the subwaves, it wasn't. This was actually the top of the third. So you ignore that one, and look at this. We had the 9, but it wasn't a reversal 9. Remember, you can have a pullback 9 or you can have a reversal 9. Okay? So in this case, we had a 9 and we sort of consolidated. And that's all it needed, right? To reset itself. Okay? So what we have here is a 1, 2, 3. We have an A, B, C. That's an expanded flat. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we had 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Okay, so there you go. Look at that. We had a 9 at the top of wave 5. No, not only was it at the top of wave 5, but if you count the subwaves, it was in the 5th of the 5th, right? And I believe I was here explaining that. I don't remember, but I feel like I did because I look at the 4-day chart all the time. Why do I like the 4-day chart? I don't know. I just had a lot of good luck with it. I like the look of the chart. I feel like not so many traders look at the 4-day chart. I feel like they look at the daily, they look at the 2-day, they look at the 3-day, they look at the weekly. But I don't feel like they look at the 4-day, right? And 4 goes into 28. And 28 is a business cycle, right? I think there's 25... I don't remember. How many work days are there in a month? It's actually about 20 to 23 days, right? Up to about, sometimes it could be 24, I think, depending on how the calendar lands. But, 4 is easily divided into 20, into 22, into 24, right? So anyways, it's just got a good look. But anyways, what I'm saying is, when you have a 9 and the 5th of the 5th, right? Because this is the 5th wave. This whole thing is the 5th wave, right? Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this right here is the 5th of the 5th. So not only is it the 5th of the 5th, but you also have a 9. Not only you have a 9, but look at the shape of the candle. That's a doji candle. Yes, it looks very bullish, and it's kind of deceiving in a way because it looks like a bullish dragonfly doji, but it's actually letting you know it's a reversal. And you didn't have to sell right there. That's the good thing about it. You don't have to take profit here. You can wait because you want to see wave definition, right? You want to see wave definition, right? So we pumped back to the upside. We hit the high. And then, boom, we tanked. And we actually closed below here. So that would have been... And then we actually even went further down. So you can either pull your profits right here when you realize this is an engulfing candle. Or you wait until it crashes and then you wait for the retrace. Problem is, you don't really know how deep it's going to retrace. You know what I mean? Because if we fall way further... and we retrace only up to here, you're going to wish you would have got out there. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's a little lesson for the 9s. And look what we got right now, guys. We got a daily 9. We got a 4-day 9. Okay? So does this 4-day 9 mean that we're screwed and we're going to pull back? No, because look at this 4-day 9. It just means that we're probably going to make a little bit of a pit stop. Okay? So... let's look at some other charts here. Let's look at the 3-day chart. Look at the 3-day chart. We had a 9, but you can see it wasn't perfected, right? That's another thing too. It needs to be perfected, right? I mean, it is perfected in a way, but not in terms of Elliott. And it doesn't look clean at all. This was a good 9 right in here, right? So look at this. Here's a really good example. Look at this. So if I take a trend-based fib extension from here, and I go all the way down, and then I go all the way up, look where we landed, guys. We landed at the 1-to-1 extension. But not only that, if that wasn't enough, look what you have. You have a perfected 9. because the candles came down in orderly fashion, right? You had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, they came down in an orderly fashion, and you had, look at this, A, B, C. You had a 3-wave move, number 1. Number 2, you had a 1-to-1 extension. Number 3, you had a 9. And number 4, you had a 5-wave move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my God, that's the secret to becoming a good trader. That is the secret to becoming a good trader. You have to have all your ducks lined up. You have to have so many things in confluence that there's so many things screaming in your face that it's right. You just don't want to be greedy and be like, yeah, I want it to go up, so I'm going to buy, or, oh, I think I'm scared, so I think it's going to go down. No, you have to have evidence. And I just gave you multiple things, right? So again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. You have a 3-wave pullback. You have a 1-to-1 extension. And you have a 9. I mean, that is a home run trade right there. Okay? So let's say you bought right there. Okay? Let's say you bought. And then you run up. Well, you never made it to a 9. Instead, you just collapsed. Well, what you would do, let's say you bought, and you can see when the 9 becomes activated. You see those red dots right there? Okay, so when this candle breaks above these red dots, that's exactly how you know it has to close. It has to close above the red dot. That's how you know the 9's activated, okay? So let's say you had all of those things and you still weren't convinced to buy. Okay, well now you wait for the 9 to be activated, and let's say you bought right here. Okay, so you bought there, and then where would your stop loss be? Well, your stop loss, you want it close to you, but you don't want it too close, maybe down in here somewhere, okay? All right, so then you move all the way up here, right? And it's looking good, it's looking good, it's looking good, but wait a minute. We had this big red candle, we're going sideways, and now this candle actually broke below. So what I would do, right, is you take your stop loss that's down here, and you actually move it, let's see where we would move it to. Well, it would help if you had a retracement here. So let's say we had the top of this wave here. You can either move it to the 618, right? Which in hindsight, that wasn't a good call because it actually triggered your stop. But you did make profit. It's all about making money at the end of the day. But if you wanted to be extremely conservative, what you could have did was put your stop loss at the 382. That's always a good spot, the 382, right? So maybe I would put it actually a couple percent below the 382. So maybe about 63.5K. So right about there. Okay. So there are guys out there right now that have Discords that teach this stuff, and you have to pay them money, right? And for me, I talk about it all the time on my channel, but today, I don't really know what I'm gonna do. When I start a video, I start off with the price and I see where it leads me. I don't, I'm not a professional YouTuber. I don't have a game plan. Okay, I'm gonna talk about this, I'm gonna talk about that. I have a little bit of a sense of what I'm gonna do, but I don't fully know until I just do it. So I was gonna start off doing a regular video, but now I'm gonna make this a members video simply because I feel like this is in the members category, right? So for me, you don't have to be a member per se to learn this stuff, because I do talk about it a lot. But being a member shows your support for the channel, number one. But then also it tells me that you guys are interested in this stuff, because if nobody's interested in it, I wouldn't really do it. So let me know that you're interested in it by becoming a member. And then I focus more on the educational part. I focus more on the selling strategy, the buying strategy. I focus more on, what to do in this circumstance, what to do in this, because things happen fast, and mainly my videos are going over the technical analysis, the wave structure, which is the primary focus. But there's other elements that go into the wave structure. And that's what I'm talking about today. Like, for example, TD sequential. So that I feel that it deserves the member status because it's a little bit more than what we're used to. So everybody who's a member, I very much appreciate you. I'm trying to give you as much content as I can. We're at almost 46 minutes and it's just nonstop. Okay, so let's keep rolling here. So anyway, I would put my stop loss right about there, and then boom, it gets triggered. But look, I got in here and I made, let's see how much I made up to here. I made, look at that, almost 8%. Okay, so if I bought Bitcoin for $100, okay, and I put a 5x leverage on that, that's like I had $500. Okay, so 500 times 8%. I don't have a calculator with me, but it's a it's a good price, right? So you made money. There you go. So that's the strategy that I teach, and so I'm gonna primarily keep it with the members, right? Because that's giving away my secret sauce. I can go on there and talk about wave structure and things like that, but to give away my secret sauce, that's again for members, right? And that's why I'm like, I got to do this. I got to have this be a members video because I'm giving too much of my secrets away, but they really shouldn't be secrets. I feel I've learned, for example, I didn't learn all this stuff from one person. I learned it from many different people. Like, for example, I learned TD sequential from a guy named Tone Vase. He has a YouTube channel, and he showed it to me. I thought it was so fascinating, so I learned it, right? I learned it from other people. And then I learned Elliott Wave from a guy named Jim Pierce. He also has a Discord that I'm actually still a part of. He basically teaches that, but I learned it from also other people. And then basic other, trading strategies, I basically just learned on my own and through other people as well. So, but what I did was I put it all together. I put Elliott Wave together. I put TD sequential together. And I believe that I have a winning strategy. Now, everybody's strategy should be their own. This is my strategy. This is what works for me. And this is, it rewarded me very well. So now it's time for me to pay it forward and to teach all of you. And I've been doing that for a while now. So anyways, that's what we got here today. So right now, and it's like, well, what if you have a 9 on the 5-day chart, but not the 2-day chart? Well, it really depends what time frame you're trading. Like when we look at the daily, we're about to get a 9 in 6 hours. So not only we have a 9, about to be a 9, right, on the daily. And by the way, the 9 has to close, right? So the 9 isn't going to close until tomorrow. So we'll have a perfected 9, right? But then also you have a 9. Let's see, the 2-day, we don't have a 9. It's on a 4. We still have room. The 3-day, we don't have a 9. We have a green 2 going above a 1, above the 9, right? And then the 4-day, we have a 9. So we're on a 9 right now. And we have 2 days left until the candle closes. So tomorrow, or actually today, we're going to get a 9 on the daily. And those are my two favorite time frames, by the way. The daily and the 4-day, right? In regards to what We have a 9 on the daily and the 4-day. So that's double confluence that we should be cautious. It doesn't mean we're going to crash. It doesn't mean we're going to go down. It just means, hey, be careful because we might have to consolidate a little bit. So what we would do. So now we have that information, right? So now let's use that. I feel like I'm a teacher. Let's use this. Oh, look at that. We have a 12-hour 9 too. Wow. So we have a 3-9 trifecta here. So, okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to see if we have 5 waves. Look at that, guys. We had a perfect 9. Let me zoom out a little bit here. Let's see. Okay, so let's start right here. We had a 9. We had a pullback, right? And then we went up. And we almost made it to another 9. We pulled back. So here's a good learning lesson here, right? So look at this. Watch this. So look at this. We're ranging. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. We break out. Oh, man, I missed it. I missed the breakout. Okay. So what we would do is we wait for a back test. So the price comes all the way back down, and we back test. But not only that, we have to have 5 waves, right? Or at least 3 waves. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So not only we had 5 waves, not only did we back test, but we also had a 9. And not only we had a 9, what else did we have? We had a base. We built consolidation, sideways. Sideways is good. So that was a perfect 9. And look, the 9 was the bottom. So that's how you know it was perfected, right? So, okay, you buy here. And then you come up. But look at this 9. This was not a good 9. Why? Because it's in the beginning of an impulse. Not only that, look at this. We come up here, we're flagging out this way, right? We're bottlenecking in here with a 9. And then we explode to the upside. So now, here we are on a 12-hour 9, a daily 9, and a 4-day 9. So, do these 9s have any validity? Well, let's see. Do we have 5 waves? Do we have 5 waves? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We do. Okay? We have 5 waves. That doesn't mean it's completely over yet. So we have 5 waves. We have a 9 on the daily, the 4-day, and the 12-hour. So is it enough to hit sell? Well, it depends. If you're holding Bitcoin, for example, altcoins, I'm not selling. We had a 20% dump in Theta. There's no reason for me to sell it now. Like, you should have sold it before. So that's why I'm saying the altcoins, they're smaller market caps, so they move faster, right? So, for example, Bitcoin might take another week to fully correct. Right? You know, it can consolidate up here for a while before correcting, you know, and before we get some wave structure, right? Or we could have 5 waves in the 5th. So if we go to let's go to the 1-hour chart. Okay, so this is the 1 hour. Okay, so look at that. We're also on a 1-hour 9. Oh my God. You know what I mean? But here's the thing. When you're in price discovery, the 9s become a little less relevant, just a little bit, because things could be incredibly bullish. And I'm going to show you examples of that in part 2. Oh my God, we're already at 54 minutes. I mean, time flies when I'm doing this, guys. I don't know why. I'm sitting here and I'm explaining things, and all of a sudden it's like freaking a long time. Man. Okay, so let's keep rolling. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so when is it going to top? Well, do we have 5 waves in the 5th? We don't. We don't have 5 waves in the 5th. Well, it depends. Is this a 1, 2, 3? And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3. Then we get 4, and then we get 5. So maybe it's something like that. Right? Maybe it's something like that. Or is this an ABC running flat, and this is a 1, 2, and now we're in the middle of the 3rd, and then we get 4 and 5. That could also be the case. But here's the thing. You don't have to hit that sell button right away. Right? People are like, I got to get out right away because it's a 9 and it's got 5 waves. I got to get out now. No. Look at this. For example, let's go to the daily chart. And let's go right here. It's not a good example, but you see what I mean. Like, actually, let's go to the 4-day chart. Okay, let's go to the 4-day chart. So right here is a good example. Okay, so we landed on a 9, and we had 5 waves. Am I so quick to sell? I mean, we have to see the wave structure because look, we were in this area for how many days? How many days was that exactly? And it's not going to be the same, but we were there for about a month. So it gave you time to sort of assess the situation because we don't really know, right? You need wave structure to tell you that we're gonna reverse. And one of the ways is to look for is an A wave. So if we go to the 1 hour chart, right? And let's say we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say we get up here. I think we will. I think they're pushing it to 100K, guys. I don't know. I have a feeling they are. You know why? Because it's all about what? Publicity. It's all about that $100,000 number so that they can blast it on the mainstream media. This is what it's about, right? As soon as nobody cares about $92,000 Bitcoin. Nobody cares. But if you have $100,000, that is the number that all the Bitcoin maxis dreamed about back in 2014, 2015, 2017, right? That is what all the people talk about, 100K Bitcoin, 100K Bitcoin. That is the number. That is the epitome of what Bitcoin is, right? Is that 100K. Even go back to Cliff High, if you guys follow him, right? He said we would hit $100,000. He said we would have $100,000 Bitcoin parties. Right? So it's all in the language. It's in the data. Right? So we could be very well, I believe we will hit 100K. I'm not so certain we're going to hit it right away. It might take a little bit of time. But let's get back to our lesson here. Okay? So you don't have to necessarily sell it right away. So let's say let's say we pushed up to the upside, right? So now we're on a 4-day 9, a 1-day 9, right, and a 12-hour 9. So we have all of these 9s, and we also have 5 waves. So we need to take our profit, right? So that's what we're looking for. So what do? Do you take it up the top of here? Well, what I would do is I would count 5 waves. I'd take a little bit of profit, and it's all about dollar cost averaging, just like how you dollar cost average into the market. You want a dollar cost average out of the market. So for example, if I have a $1,000 position, I'm not going to sell all my $1,000 right here. I'll probably sell maybe 20% and then I'll wait. And then if we get an A wave, let's say we get a wave A, right? I wouldn't sell. I would wait. And let's say we come up for a wave B. Then if we get 3 waves, right? Not 5 waves, but if we get 3 waves, and we get to the retracement level, and then we start getting stuck, and then we start going down, then I would sell another 20%. So now I'm at 40%. I got 60% left. What do I do with the remainder? Right? Or no, I got 60%, 20 and 20, okay? So what do I do with the remainder? Well, I kind of wait and see. I wait and see what it's going to do. Is it going to be, more complex like this, like a 333? You have to kind of wait. And I think that's a good thing to go into part 2 for the video. I don't want to make it too long. Okay? So, I think we covered a lot today. I think we did really well. Let's take a look at XRP. Oh, look at that. XRP has also had a 4-hour 9. Okay, so here's a really good lesson right here. So notice how, let me take a look here. We sort of had a 1-2, okay, and then we had, it's a little difficult to count because you kind of want to say 1, 2, 1, 2, and this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. I'm just not so sure about it. There's a couple of different ways, and for time purposes, I'm not going to really try to dissect the wave. But what I will say is, we had this move to the upside, right? And I would actually have to zoom in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a line and I'm going to put it right on the red dots. I'm going to take another line and I'm going to put it right at the close, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the 15-minute chart so that I can see the definition in the wave, okay? So you notice here was our 9 right here. Here's our red dots, right? So if we, we printed the red dots, we pulled back, we came up, for example, if this is like a 3-wave move, well, then what we're going to want to wait for is for us to come up and break above these red dots on the 4-hour chart, right? So let me go back to the 4-hour. So there's the red dots right there, right? So because here's a 9, we come up to a 9, right? So that could be the top, not a reversal, but like a short-term top. And then we pull back, here's your wave A, and then we come up, here's your wave B, right? And then we come back down for wave C. So you can think about it like that, right? And then what I would do is I would go maybe to the smaller time frames and see if we can get a 9, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. That's how I would buy. Would I buy it right now? No. When do I buy crypto? When there is a clear advantage. And what's the clear advantage? 5 waves down, 3 waves pullback, right? Or 5 waves down in wave C and a 3-wave pullback. And the cherry on top is the 9. The cherry on top is the 9, okay? And what did Nikola Tesla, what was his number? 369. The power of 9. There's something about the number 9 that is very powerful. I don't know what it is, but there's something about it that is powerful. So maybe you can let me know in the comment. But yeah, we have a 9. Okay, so and we have 5 waves down. That's a good buying opportunity for me if we get it. But I don't know if we're going to get it, right? We don't know. But I need a high probability setup because for me, I can take a little bit more risk. For you guys, depending your skill level, if you're starting out, you're a beginner, I would imagine most people are, I would be very, very stingy with my money. I wouldn't want to take so many risks. When you're trading, if you're hodling, if you're investing, that's different, right? You can go to Coinbase right now and buy XRP and I'll start clapping my hands. Good job, great. But if you go to like Binance or something and you buy XRP with a 5x leverage, then you got to be very careful, okay? So leverage is like a drug, sometimes people play with it, and that's how these guys became millionaires. Like, you ever wonder, you remember the guy back in the day, his name was the Moon, called himself the Moon. I don't remember, I don't know who this guy, I think his name was Carl. He was a little guy. He looked like a little 16-year-old kid with pimples on his face. Just, like I like his accent. And he was in his room doing videos. And I saw that 2019. And then all of a sudden, he was a multi-millionaire, like instantly. You know why? Because he knew how to use leverage in the 2021 Bitcoin bull run. Right? A lot of people think it's because of his signups through his exchanges. Yeah, he gets affiliate links and stuff like that. But he made a lot of his money through trading Bitcoin. And he did so using leverage. I don't recommend anyone using leverage unless you really know what you're doing. And that's another reason I do these videos, is because I think using leverage is a good advantage, depending if you get a good price, right? So, you want a lot of wiggle room with that, and that'll be another video, right? So there's a lot of videos, right? Like a selling strategy, a trading strategy, which we're doing now, but there's other parts to it as well. And then also, like leverage, like a leverage strategy, right? Like, for example, here's a common mistake people make. Let's say you buy XRP down here, you got a great deal. And then it moves up and now you made a lot of money. Like, you put $1,000 in and now you're at $5,000. Well, if you would have bought $1,000 here and it would have went up here on a spot position, you would have only made a couple $100, maybe, maybe not even $100, right? But a leverage, you can make a lot. And what happens is people take that and they think that that money they just made, that's unrealized gains. You didn't take profit. So what they do is they take the money that is unrealized and then they put it back into the market. So then it comes up again, then they buy more, then it goes up again, then they buy more. And then what you did, you had a really good price, and what you did is now, you're dollar cost averaging, which is a good thing, but you're doing it on the way up, not the way down, right? Or in a sideways, right? You don't really want to do it on the way down with leverage. So then let's say you get up to here and you make a lot, and now you're in the money. You made a lot of money. You feel good, right? You feel euphoric, and then what happens? You come all the way down, right? So all of these spots you just bought are now underwater, right? Versus if you would have just bought here and left it alone, and then it came back down, well, guess what? Now you're still in profit. And then you wait for the pullback, because that's the hardest part. People feel like it's going to go and moonshot without them. And look what Dogecoin did. Dogecoin is a great example of it not coming back, because I was waiting for a pullback. If I got a pullback with Doge, I'd get it. I never got it, and it kept going and going and going and going. I could have got in at 26 cents. I was looking at it consolidate right there, but I decided to wait, and I missed it, right? So, there's risk. There's pros and cons to everything we do. There's risk involved, right? So again, if XRP is on its way to $1, which I believe it is, I don't think it's going to go in a straight shot. I mean, it totally could, and I would be super happy if it did. But let's say you bought XRP down here on the 9, right, using leverage, and then it comes up, and you didn't buy any, you didn't buy any, you didn't buy any, you didn't buy any, and it just goes and it breaks out to $1. Well, in hindsight, that was actually the bad thing to do, because you could have added here, here, and here. So where's the sweet spot? You're telling me one thing, but you're saying another thing. So exactly, right? It all depends, and that's what makes it challenging. That's what makes it difficult, right? If it was so easy, everybody would be millionaires, guys. People share charts on Twitter all the time. Most of those guys are not millionaires. Some of them are, but most of them are. I'm not a millionaire. I haven't been doing it long enough to get to $1 million, right? And even if I was at $1 million, I wouldn't tell you, right? You're not supposed to tell anyone your net worth ever. It's just disrespectful. It's not, because somebody who is barely making any money, right? $500 may be a lot of money to somebody, right? But $50,000 might be a little bit of money to somebody. You know what I mean? So it's all about perspective. It's all about what you have. And I'm not here to tell you what's a good amount, what's a bad amount, because anything is a good amount, right? I've been, I didn't grow up rich. I grew up very middle class, more in the poor end. My dad had a little bit of money, but my parents divorced when I was 4 years old. So, growing up with my mom, it was money was tight. You know what I mean? So I've always learned to be tight with my money. And, I told myself, I don't want to live like that. I want to be free. I don't want to have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go to a job that I don't like, work there 8-10 hours, come home, be tired, don't have enough energy to play with my son, right? And then go to sleep and do it all over again, right? Most people do that. I don't want to do that. And I feel like most people don't want to do that, right? So, I wouldn't quit my job. What I would do, if you have a job, that's amazing. I don't have a job. My job is this. So I have to fully depend on this, right? So I have to be extremely careful of what I do. If you have a job and let's say you make a lot of money and then you did something stupid and then you got liquidated, Well, guess what? You still got a job. You can make more money. You can make it back and you can try again. For me, if I lose my money, that's it. I'm done. I would be forced to have to get a job, right? So I have to be extra careful. So, anyways, all right, let's keep moving on here. Let's take a look at SHIB real quick. This is what we'll do. Let's look at a couple charts. We'll see what they're saying, and then we'll come up with a final assessment, and then we'll call it a day. All right. So when we look at the 4 hour, let's look at a little bit closer here. So I like SHIB. Why do I like it? Because I see a flat, guys. And that's exactly what we talked about. So we have an A, or actually I would say, oh, okay, now I see it. So, okay, that's right. Well, I don't know. See, the problem is this wave here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that a fifth wave or is that a B wave? But let's say it's a B wave. We have A, or let's say W, right? That 1, 2, 3. W, 1, 2, 3. X, 1, 2, 3. Y, and W is a flat. Okay, so that's a three-wave move. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful, right? And then we had consolidation down here. This is where you should have bought, right there. And then we pumped to the upside, and now we're flagging out. And what's the idea? This is a pullback. This is a wave 1. This is a wave 2. Let's freaking go. That's the way I see it on one hand, okay? But it could get more complex. We don't know because we have point A and point B. We're right in the middle of point C. So it's very hard. When you're in the middle of the retracement levels, it's always challenging. That is the most challenging spot because it can really go either way. But that's why you have to look at the small time frames to get an edge on it. So another thing, right? You have 3 down. What if this comes up in 3? If we get something like that, then at that point, I would think it's going to be more complex. So then we get 3 back down. And then the whole thing becomes WXY. It's a much, much bigger WXY, right? And then when we go to the 4-hour chart, it's actually not so big, right? So you got a 1, 2, 1, 2. You're flagging out in here, right? And now you have a 1, 2. And then you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then maybe you get A, B, and C. And then you go, okay? But we don't have any 9s. Or do we? I don't know. Okay, we had a 9. Yeah, look at that. We came up on a 4-hour 9, right? This is the see, I wasn't using sequential a lot in my previous videos because when you're consolidating, like we've been consolidating in that Bitcoin 4th wave correction for a long, long time. You know what I mean? So, it took time. So you don't really need the 9s. You only need the 9s when you're trending. When you're trending, that's when you use it. Okay, but when you're consolidating, you don't need it. All right, so that's one thing that's very important to know. I haven't even looked at the bull market support band, guys. I mean, I've been so busy just looking at price. I haven't even looked at a lot of the indicators here. So there's the 55, looking good. So anyway, we have a 9. We came up, we took the top, and then we came back down, right? So this was a 9. Look at that. The 9 called the exact top of the wave, and this A, B, C, or W, X, Y, following the 9, right? I mean, that's a good setup there, but I probably wouldn't buy it now. I would have had to buy it back here when we're at support. So, but let's look at the higher time frames. Remember, Bitcoin was on a 4-day 9. Look at Theta, or look at SHIB. It's only on a 3 on the 4-day, okay? On the daily, oh, there it is. On the daily, we have a 9, okay? And what's really interesting about it is look at the 8. The 8 is a reversal 8. So we could be correcting for a little bit. So what? Okay, so here we go. Ready? So this is a good thing. In order to in order to know exactly what's going to happen, either we're going to get a 1, 2, 3, 4 candle correction and then go higher. That's number one. Or this is going to be more complex and we're going to have to go down and reverse and possibly even back test. Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's see where we're at. Let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of that. And let me get rid of that. I don't like when people have all of these things on their charts. I like mine very clean, very minimalistic, right? Like the inside of a Tesla, very minimal, so I can clearly see what's going on. So, number one, what we can use, right, is obviously we have resistance, right, support, right? So we broke through it. So that's kind of the line. That's the line we need to stay above, right there. Okay, and so so now let's zoom back in to the 4 hour. So there you go, right? So if that is a 9, if it's a reversal 9, I should say, or actually we had it on the daily. Let me go back to the daily. Okay, so there's the 9. If this is a reversal 9, it's not going to mean it's going to reverse the price forever, but we could come back down. Look at that. Oh my God. Look at that. We also had a 9 right here. See, this is why it's so powerful. Look at this. We came up. That was a perfected 9, by the way. Look at that. Perfect. It called the top perfectly. Okay. And then we pulled back and then we had a 3-way move up. It was a retracement. And look at that. The retracement also called the 9 perfectly. Too bad we didn't get a 9 buy though. Right. But sometimes you don't need a 9 buy if you have 3 waves. You see what I mean? So then what do? You blast to the upside, right? You're blasting to the upside, and you have a 9 sell. So either we're going to get a 1 to 4 candle correction, or it's going to be more complex, meaning we have to come back down and back test this area. So right now we're at 26.84. We can come down to 20.99, or just say 21. So right now we'll just say 27. We can come down to 21. Okay? So, and then we have to hold the back test zone, build some accumulation, and then go up. That's just an idea. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but based off the 9, if it's a reversal 9, we can expect that. Look at this, guys. Look at this. Look at the 9, guys. The 9 called the exact top. Well, not the exact top because you had this one here. But it called basically the top of the SHIB bull market, or actually of the SHIB retracement. Let's go back even further. Do we have any 9s up here? No. We didn't get any 9s up here. Okay. So let me see. Let me look at the 3-day. Oh, wow. Look at that. That was a perfected 3-day 9. So all you had to do, and notice down here, there's no 9s. You know why there's no 9s down there? Because we're consolidating. Remember what I said. When you're in a consolidation, that's why I haven't been looking at TD sequential for the longest time, because we've been consolidating. But since we're trending now, at least with Bitcoin, now we can look at TD sequential, right? And sort of refresh our memories on it, right? So now what we have, right? This is accumulation, buy. And this is why I love XRP. Because this is what it's been doing for the last 7 years. XRP is the biggest base in crypto history. It's been going sideways for 7 years. Okay, so we pump to the upside, we flag out, and then we make it all the way to a 9. Right? We print the red dots. I mean, that's your signal right there. Especially, if you had like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 waves to the upside. You have a 9. Sell it. All right. So the video's gone on pretty long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this to the members. I'm going to let them watch it. But I'm also going to upload it to everybody else as a freebie. So this is going to be a one-time freebie, just so that other people can understand what the member videos are all about. Right? And there's so much more involved in it as well. This is just the tip of the iceberg, guys. I got so much more ammunition to show you guys. I've been trading for a while, and I've gotten a lot of experience. and I want to share with you everything that I found. And this is the first part, right? Using Elliott wave with TD sequential. Nobody else does that. I mean, some people use TD sequential, some people use Elliott wave, but I've figured out a way to combine both of them to get a winning strategy. But that's one thing. Another thing people want to know about is targets. How high can XRP go? How high can SHIB go? How high can Bitcoin go? Well, in order to get the most accurate target, you really need 5 waves, or you really need 4 waves, right? That way we can measure wave 3 and wave 4 to get an accurate wave 5, right? And then what else? Selling strategies. People want to know, how do I get out of this market, without leaving so much on the table? Because you don't want to sell too early, you don't want to sell too late, but it's all about dollar cost averaging. And I'm going to show you ways that I do it in other videos. So this members video is going to go out to the members first, and then I will upload it for everybody else to see. And then they can decide from there, hey, do I want to join the membership? And by the way, you can join the membership and try it out for 1 month. And I think it's like $3 or $4, or I don't know, it's something cheap. And try it out. And if you like it, great. But I'm giving you an hour and 21 minutes of, think about it like a college class. Like, think about how much it costs to go to college, right? I'm nowhere near college. I'm not that smart. I never went to college. But, think about it like that. Like, this is education. This is not financial advice. This is education. And this is basically going through the process of what it is to understand the charts. Okay. Versus a 10-minute video of me explaining, yeah, here's the price target, here's what happened, here's what I think. People love that. And I would say 90% of the people out there, that's what they want. But I'm more of in a niche market where some of the people out there, they actually want to learn, right? And, when you go to high school or college, you're in class for at least an hour. You know what I mean? Or 45 minutes to an hour. So think about it like that. You're paying for a class, and it only costs $4 a month. And this is money we're talking about. This is not learning about, geology, like the way volcanoes work, right? This is learning about money. This is learning about real shit. You know what I mean? Excuse my French. But anyway, anyways, yeah, there's still a lot of stuff I need to go through. I'll probably end up making another video today, potentially going over some regular price action. But anyways, that'll do it for this video. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. By the way, real quick, Theta is on a 1-hour 9. Okay, so look, notice you had a 9 buy here. You printed the red dots, right? We fell down, we came back up, we had another 9, and we're basically consolidating in between the 9 buy and the 9 sell, right? So if we look closer, you can see we're sort of consolidating. It kind of looks like a 1, 2, 3, looks like a 4th wave triangle. Maybe we hit the high. If not, then this is an ABC, 3 up, and then we would need 3 down. Maybe to back test this area before making another attempt. Just thought I'd throw that in there. All right, guys, that'll do it for this video. I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.